We are going to hear from Cassie this week, along with another witness named Jane. They said we're going to hear, or we're going to see videos of these freak-offs, and it's going to be very uncomfortable.
He was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs and parties.
I had Cassie and Sean. Basically, with the they told me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots of business, because what they would do is Sean.
And it'd be like, matter of fact, they sent me the girl pictures, like pictures of this girl, like, not the y'all saw.
The trial is only just beginning, but what's coming will shake the entire industry, from careers being destroyed to videos surfacing, celebrities being exposed, and victims finally having their truth heard. For years, 50 tried to warn everyone, and now with evidence being laid out in federal court, whispers, once passed around as rumors at parties or hidden in gossip columns, have turned into undeniable facts. Everything shifted when the security footage dropped, and at the center of it all stands Officer Israel Flores, not just part of the LAPD, but also formerly on duty at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, working under Securas, where secrets were silently guarded until now.
Officer Israel Flores, he's a police officer for LAPD, but more notably is before he used to work for Securitas, and he had worked at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City in California. So when they were talking about March 5th of 2016, this witness, who again was for the government, he got a call about a woman in distress on the 6th floor of this hotel. And so he says during his testimony, he had observed a male and a female in the lobby. He recognized that this male was Sean Combs. And so at the time, he was working as the assistant director for the Intercontinental Hotel. So, his responsibilities were to respond to incidents, train trainees pretty much. And then he later on became the director. And that's kind of important, mainly because it kind of controlled what he was and wasn't able to do when it came to this surveillance video. So, for example, as an assistant director, he wasn't able to rewind it past a certain time frame. He wasn't even able to download it or even download this video to attach onto the incident report or anything like that. So, again, he was serving as an assistant director in that capacity at the time that this incident had occurred. When they were talking about the surveillance video, Officer Flores was talking about how every floor of the hotel had cameras. They were motion-activated cameras, by the way. Again, they had the capacity to rewind and download these types of videos, but only the director of security was able to do so, and he didn't take over that role until later on. But as far as him writing up incidents reports, because we got to see that exhibit was we got to see the exhibit of the incident report from that day in 2016. So before he responded to the call, he said he looked at the cameras. He saw a black man pacing back and forth. Then when he arrived onto the 6th floor, he saw Diddy, or Sean Combs, in a towel, and then saw Cassie in the corner covering her face. He said he didn't know it was Cassie immediately. He just pretty much recognized Diddy. He said that Diddy's demeanor, and this is a pretty interesting point, Jesse, was a blank stare, and said it was a devilish stare. Diddy at this point is still in his hotel, is still in his towel. He's still wearing socks. Another interesting point is that they refer to Cassie as Cece, but that she was pretty much scared and frightened, according to...
They revealed that a sworn-in hotel security guard confirmed everything 50 Cent had been warning us about for years, adding another powerful layer to the story. What's even more striking is that the hotel footage is time-stamped back to 2016, the same year 50 began speaking out more frequently about Diddy's events. While celebrities lined up to attend those exclusive parties, 50 was nowhere to be seen because he already knew what happened behind those closed doors, where people were secretly recorded without consent and manipulated through dark tactics to keep them trapped in silence.
Cassie was forced to allow an escort to in her mouth at one point, and this was per the instructions of Sean Combs. The other witness, Jane, is going to testify that she and Diddy got into an altercation where he allegedly stomped on her face, and that she would run into every single room, lock the door, he would chase after her and kick the door down. And it was very graphic.
As the hotel video audio made its rounds, another bombshell dropped, revealing that Diddy spent $5 million to silence a key witness, and ever since his formal prosecution and imprisonment, a wave of videos has flooded the internet, exposing even more disturbing truths that had been buried for years.
Since Combs has officially been charged and he's locked up behind bars, there have been a lot of videos that have been surfacing, particularly online. And one of those videos is the interrogation of a man named Jonathan Oddie. Now, this is a strange one, maybe some would say, an odd one. See what I did right there? So I want you to stay with me. So we go back to 2018. And Jonathan Oddie allegedly went into the Trump National Doral Miami Hotel and Resort in the middle of the night and ostensibly went on a rampage. The state attorney's office says that Oddie fired shots in the lobby and toward the chandelier, then a giant American flag across the front desk. There was a shootout when Miami police got to the scene, and Oddie was shot in the leg and tried to hide, but he was taken into custody.
AB was shot in the leg while trying to escape, but he was quickly caught. He was never meant to speak. The $5 million deal was crafted solely to buy his silence forever. But everything changed when Cassie came forward. Her courage cracked the wall of secrecy that had protected these actions for so long. It's impossible now to ignore how these accusations were dismissed for years as the rants of a troubled man, when in truth they were warnings the world refused to hear.
I had with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would mess and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all.
Cassie's story was just the beginning. This wasn't about one person. It exposed a pattern, a system built to exploit and silence victims. Diddy tried to tie Addie's breakdown to the $5 million he paid to bury the truth, but no amount of money can keep the truth buried forever. The Daily Mail recently released the NDA, once dismissed as a conspiracy theory, dated July 9, 2014, and signed by Diddy himself. Even Tanya Trowine, Addie's ex-wife, confirmed it was real and said it aligned exactly with the timing of their divorce, making it clear this cover-up ran deeper than anyone imagined.
Actually claiming that Cassie Ventura is the aggressor. Listen.
Diddy's lawyer's strategy to fight Cassie Ventura's claims is with claims of their own. The defense team indicates a plan to portray Ventura as an aggressive and violent person, capable of starting physical confrontations. The defense tells the court the mutual between victim one Ventura and Diddy was so bad it amounted to domestic violence, and that will undercut prosecutors' argument that Ventura was a victim. Diddy will reportedly admit to domestic violence while still claiming he is innocent of trafficking and racketeering.
Nobody's defending what he did. However, it's the context of it. Is he guilty of domestic violence? Sure looks like it to me, and he copped to it. You got the tape, you got his thing. Domestic violence is not what he's charged with.
She admitted it felt like he divorced her just to stop her from speaking out after receiving the payout. What Ad went through wasn't just trauma. It was the result of a carefully constructed system built on NDAs, hush money, and intimidation designed to silence victims. That system is now collapsing in front of us, and Ad's story is only getting started. These weren't just wild parties. They were controlled operations with strict rules and harsh consequences for anyone who dared to resist. The infamous freak-offs, long whispered about in the industry, were real, and Cassie didn't just see them, she recorded them. The footage she handed over to prosecutors was so disturbing jurors had to be warned before watching.
And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually...
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now, and then no one was... You know, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy. I mean,
but I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day? Obviously, I know what was going on there, but is there a reason you never did?
I'm just not with all that freaky like all of the stuff that he's doing. I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal. You go to the 90s, and Kiki D said he paid him to kill Tupac.
Yeah.
So look, like, you get the craziest accusation.
The defense is trying to flip the narrative by casting Cassie as the aggressor and suggesting she was a willing participant. But the evidence tells a much darker truth. This was about coercion, manipulation, and punishing anyone who dared to walk away. The freak-offs weren't just twisted gatherings. They were displays of power, the kind of power that forced people into acts they never consented to, the kind of power that thrived on secretly recording them and using those recordings as weapons to control and silence.
They alleged that if you watch the CNN video closely, you'll see that midway through the video, Diddy walks away holding a phone. And this phone is all he wanted from Cassie. That this argument that they had, while he acted in a vile manner, he is guilty of domestic violence, and but he's not on trial for that. This argument in particular was about a phone. Cassie was jealous, and all he wanted was this phone. And as soon as he got it, he sat down in the chair, he put his head in his hands, and that was...
What makes all of this so haunting isn't just what happened behind closed doors. It's how many people knew and chose silence, how many careers thrived by ignoring the truth, and how many victims were brushed off as liars or attention seekers. The first day of Diddy's trial flipped the script. The man who once controlled the industry now sits powerless as his own children witness the fall of everything he built. When they entered that courtroom, the air was heavy. This wasn't just a show of support. It was a front row seat to the collapse of their father's legacy. Far removed from the glossy yacht party posts on Instagram, this is a family in crisis. And while his kids try to stay composed, Diddy's legal team is in chaos, tossing out every defense they can, hoping something sticks.
One night, Diddy, according to the government, hunted for her. He found out that she was seeing another man, and then Diddy took his gun and his bodyguards and threatened to even kill this man that Cassie was with. The government said that Diddy had forced Cassie out of her apartment, broke into Cassie's apartment, beat her brutally, beyond just what we had seen through that Intercontinental surveillance video as well, too. The government kind of painting it as the evidence will show that Diddy relied on his inner circle, and together they all worked as a group to pretty much promote Diddy's power, that Diddy would refer to himself as a king. I remember speaking during the lunch break, and that kind of matches the tattoo that he has on the back of his neck that I see from inside that gallery.
According to the Daily Mail and the New York Post, Jonathan Oddie may have in fact signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement with Sean Combs, signing this in exchange for $5 million. And apparently, there is a picture of an NDA signed in 2014 that has surfaced. According to the report, you can see Combs' signature on it. It says, over Sean Combs, individually on behalf of Bad Boy Worldwide, Sean John Enterprises. There's a signature there. And Oddie went on to apparently tell authorities, my settlement put me in a box. Basically, I couldn't talk because I was going to be sued. They kept following me, he reportedly also said. And he also said this.
I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued him for the herpes and won. But they did Mark Eros and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? And Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible I threw everything out. It's possible I can produce it.
All of a sudden, out of the blue, he calls me. He's like, I need a divorce. And I'm like, okay, we were separated. I'm like, sure, we'll do it. And he's like, okay, I need you to do the paperwork. Well, I'm an attorney. Of course, I could do the paperwork. A divorce is quite simple. We don't have any assets together. We didn't have any children. It's a very, simple divorce. I prepared the paperwork. I was going to file it. All of a sudden, he hires a lawyer. And the lawyer's calling me, you need to sign this paperwork, you need to get it signed. And I was like, what are you talking about, Jane? You told me you had no money. Why are you hiring a lawyer? When I'm a lawyer, I can do the paperwork. It's not a problem. Oh, you're taking too long, And I'm talking, this is within a few days or weeks. And we've been married 6 years. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm taking too long. And you have to hire a lawyer. Where are you even getting money? I did ask him that. Where are you getting money to hire a lawyer? That you can't just let me handle this. And then it was his lawyer that told him to file the financial affidavit, that he was a personal trainer, which, I know he did way more than personal training. And that was it. And I was like, okay, fine. And I remember when we went to file the paperwork, we had a notary there. I literally rushed out of the house to sign the paperwork. That's how much he was pressuring me. So it wasn't just me thinking it. And I was like, my God, okay, let me do it. And I knew something was up, but he wanted a divorce, I'm going to give it. And maybe he met a new girl. She's giving him a hard time, So I went and forgot my ID. The notary public was like, oh, I'm not doing this. And he kind of looked at us like, when people just say, why are you two shouldn't be getting divorced? It was one of those odd moments. But it was, he could just tell we still cared for each other, I think. And he was just like, well, you didn't bring your ID. I'm not going to do this. And I said, that's fine. I'll take the paperwork, go get it notarized and bring it back. So I went and took it to local notary, and he wouldn't leave me alone about getting the paperwork back to him. And I was like, what is going on? It's like, whatever. Just, I went and got the paperwork done. I gave it back to him. And that's all I heard about it. And, you know, I was just fine. I think I even got upset and told his lawyer, you know, he's a like, I was just upset with how he pressured me through the whole thing, and, you know, acted like somehow it was going to create a problem for the divorce. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we've never had a problem in our marriage. Why are we going to have one in our divorce? So it was not a comfortable divorce, but it was what it was. So he went on his way, I went on my way, and that was it. And I didn't even know about the agreement till he randomly contacted me one night. And it was a few weeks before the shooting, and it was just rambling, and I signed this deal for all this money, and he started just throwing lawyer names left and right.
What if they weren't preparing him for a tour, but for something else? What if someone panicked and pulled the plug too soon? Michael's music rights were worth billions, and his return tour was projected to shatter global records. Then there's the catalog, the one Kenny said was worth killing for. With just one line, he cut through the noise, calling Michael's death the cleanest business decision Sony ever made. That statement cracked open a floodgate, not just about Michael, but a deeper pattern haunting the music industry for years. Part 5 shifted focus to a haunting roll call of artists Kenny claimed were punished for pushing back. Whitney Houston, DMX, Prince, Amy Winehouse, Lisa, Left Eye Lopes names. He spoke like a eulogy, repeating they all tried to escape. They all spoke truth. And now they're all gone. He pointed to Prince's public war with Warner Brothers over his music rights, warning the world about contracts companies and the quiet takeover of artists' souls.